Welcome into another edition of the post-game podcast, FNL post-game podcast. Dan Lindblad, alongside the one, the only, the man of the hour.
Know where I'm going to be.
Hiding behind the mic once more.
Dodging.
Fun week.
Yeah, well, look, Backyard Bowl is just different than all the others, if we're being honest. And I loved this game being at TU for so long. You got a chance to talk to Kewan Jones before the ball game, and I believe that was the first game at TU in 2000. I could be wrong on the history, would have to double-check that, but I think that's when they moved it there, and you were talking like 40,000 back then. And these two programs combined to win 21 straight in the highest classification here in the state of Oklahoma. They just, when they get together, there has been some magic. And here's the thing, even when the teams aren't at their very, very best, Kewan Jones, Rocky Kalmus level, you should expect the unexpected very often. That happens. And last night falls into that category with Jenks running out to the 28-0 lead.
And you mentioned, I chatted with Kewan before. He said he was more nervous watching this one than any other one that he played in.
Right.
Because his son was involved. And he said, I'm out here on the sideline. I can't just go out there and make a play for him. I got to trust him to make the plays. Yeah. And you saw what he put out on Twitter. He was pretty harsh on his son last week.
There's some coaching going on.
But, that little tough love, football player, coaching a football player at home a little bit, and he showed out for him this week. But
Jenks was better than they showed in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
And KD was really good in this ball game, obviously, with 156 yards. And so that's where it starts, right? Jenks took the opening kickoff and marched down to score. That set a tone. It was huge. And then they finished the game that way, too, right? Getting it back, Union had cut the lead to 7. Jenks takes the ball and salts away the final. It was roughly 6 minutes, and that was with the offensive line and run game, and that's what they're going to have to lean on. And for the first time in their first 3 games, it looked like state championship contender level offense.
Yeah.
Right? They just had not done that in the first 2 ball games. But defense and turnovers are the story of this ball game without question. One of those was on special teams. One of them was, Hudson Ball just blowing up the quarterback running back exchange. But the 2 interceptions of Shaker Rising in the first quarter, one of them going for pick 6. Biggest plays of this ball game without question, allowing them to get that cushion. By the end of the night, it felt like they were just holding on because you watch Shaker Rising throw it around, and that looks right. I mean, his arm is incredible. The weapons he's got, incredible. I'm sure that Coach Fred and Union feel like they left something out on the table, and that was not their best performance. But once again, at 0-2, Jenks had his back against the wall. And the level of belief in both of these programs, frankly, but, right now we're talking about Jenks as the winner. The level of belief in that program, it just never wavers, And here's the thing. They won the state title in, 2020 and 2021. And then last year, it was a struggle early. Even when they were winning ball games, often they were winning those ball games ugly. And the offense was, it was a bit of a mess at times. And then by week 10, they were able to put it all together and beat a Bixby team that, now that Bixby has gone on to do what they've done since then, it's just, how does anyone beat them? How is that possible? It was a lot of these kids that were on the field last night in the Backyard Bowl that did that in week 10 last year.
And to do that under the bright lights, under the national audience, all those things is just,
that's what this program's
insane.
About. That's what they're about, answering the bell. And so they did it again last night. And so it gives you hope as someone who loves high school football around here, loves, the Big 5 and Class 6A1, that Jenks now gets to put its name into the, like Bixby's number 1, no question. We've mentioned that over and over again. Bixby, then draw a line. And we were saying Union and draw a line, but now you can't really say that. Now you've got Union, Owasso, and Jenks that have all shown us something here in the first 3 weeks. They're not there yet, but by November, can you be there? And with those 3, they've at least given you a glimpse. We're still waiting on that from Broken Arrow, obviously.
And I think if you're a Jenks fan or just, again, a high school football fan, you like it when Jenks and Union and Owasso and now Bixby, you like it when all these teams are all good and competitive at the same time. And what we've said the past couple of weeks is we just haven't seen Jenks put together a complete game.
Yeah.
And, toward the end of that game, they let Union kind of get back into it a little bit. I think the defense might have softened up just a tad, but, to see them get the turnovers early was good to see. And then not only to see them get the turnovers early, but they capitalized off those as well.
Sure.
Like you said, they got the turnovers and they were able to put points on the board because of it. You can get all the turnovers. You can have a game where you have 10 turnovers and all things going your way on defense. you don't put the ball in the end zone or kick it through the uprights, it's all for naught.
Yeah.
So that was really reassuring to see that they were able to turn the turnovers into points and really show that they could do it on both sides of the ball.
If you play back, I think Shaker's going to pick you apart. And the game plan was really aggressive, for Adam Gaylor. And
he really started doing that in the second half of this game. He kind of found his groove after the turnovers.
Look, it was a heck of a performance. Shaker, you're talking about? Yeah, I mean, look, watching this guy throw it around is something else. That pick, the one that went for a pick six, that's not on him. That was a good throw. And then, the moment in the fourth quarter where it felt like, man, is it inevitable that Union's going to win this ball game? Was where Shaker went deep, hit his man, and there was a penalty of some kind. I can't remember exactly what it was, brought it back. He just drops back and chucks it again, almost looked like the exact same thing. And once again, it's a dot that is just on the money, and you thought, is Jenks really keeping this guy out of the end zone twice? And sure enough, Union marches into the red zone, but there was a tackle for loss or sack, I believe, on either first or second down.
Kick is
and it was huge. Union had to settle for a field goal to make it 31-24, and then Jenks never gives them the ball again.
Wow.
And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that 48-yard field goal that gave Jenks just a little bit of cushion in the third quarter. It was a complete performance. The offense did what it had to do, lead on the running game better than it has all year long. The defense with the turnovers and just the havoc plays, sacks, and tackles for loss, they were incredible. And then the special teams recovered a kickoff that led to a touchdown. Caden Jones with his first career touchdown pass, I assume.
I think.
And then obviously that 48-yard field goal was big as well. So it was a complete performance for Jenks. It gives us a glimpse of what this team can be. And I go back to something we said, I think, last week. Week 0 comes quickly in high school football.
Yep.
I know that these kids work out all year long, and they're 7-on-7, and they're in the weight room. But they have 2.5 weeks of training camp. Nowhere near as much as the college guys get. Not even close to what the NFL guys get, and they're pros. So you kind of have to look at it like these teams are going to be much different in November than they are in August. And it's the team that can make the most progress generally that'll end up being in the best position.
Which is what I love about the way Oklahoma does their high school football, because we've covered high school football in other states. We've both been in Texas before covering there, and I've came from Missouri. And Oklahoma, they allow you we call this kind of non-district, but it's more like preseason.
It is,
These games is just, they're all measuring stick games and see where you're at. And then the district play is where you start looking at seeding and where you start looking at, okay, are we going to make the playoffs for some of the smaller schools where there's more than 4 teams in a district? So I like how Oklahoma does that, to where we get a glimpse of these teams, and it's not do or die. Your season can't be over here as we head to the third weekend of September,
Sure.
Where some schools, if you're 0-4, then that mountain is so high to climb to try to get into the playoffs in other states. So I like how Oklahoma does that.
Big rivalry game up in Owasso last night as well. Owasso really getting after Broken Arrow. The final score was 41-21, but it was 38-7 at the half. 24 first-quarter points for the Rams. Once again, that offense just came out throwing haymakers early, and suddenly now this is back-to-back weeks where Owasso looks really, really good.
And they are always going to be really good as long as that man is coaching on the sideline. He knows how to get the most out of his guys. And, I don't think they were stressing that first week against Bixby. I think they understood that, hey, we're taking on the greatest team in Oklahoma this year. Bixby's, they're going to be the best till someone knocks them off.
At this moment, no question.
And they have really came back from that. And we're able to string together wins in relatively impressive fashion with, they allowed Jinx to get back into it a little bit last week, but they weren't allowing BA to do that. Jakari Thomas is just insane in the backfield. And really all their running backs, this Cecil Garrett, their running back room is among one of the more underrated and best in the state, if you ask me.
They look the part in a lot of areas. Bixby just never let them get going.
No.
That front seven defensively for Bixby is so veteran, and so I just don't think we got a chance to see what Owasso was or could be. And it's been unleashed here in the last couple of weeks, and it looks pretty good. There's your guy, Deuce Chalk.
He is emerging as one of the best wide receivers in the area.
Our FNL Player of the Week, and we just as a tease, you'll hear from Deuce. Your conversation with Deuce coming up a little bit later in this podcast. But
Fun fact, he is not a poetry guy.
Okay.
Again, you'll find
me either. Deuce.
Find more of that whenever we hear that conversation with him. But he's not a poetry guy.
Which of his names do you like better, Deuce or Chalk? Because they're both cool, man.
I don't know. I mean, we've got a lot of good names. I feel like this, and again, you'll hear more from him about the story behind. There's a story behind Deuce. Mm-hmm. It's not just I'm gonna pick a name out of a hat and call it good. Chalk, you can get some Chalks as a name.
I like chalk.
But
I dig
chalk.
I like
you
put them
Deuce.
together, it's magical.
Yeah.
No question.
Something special.
September the 22nd, we've got the bye week coming up for all of our Big 5 teams who started on week 0. September the 22nd, we've got Owasso and Union. And that's going to be fun, right?
That'll be a good one.
Where Bill Blankenship used to coach. And, of course, a rematch of last year's epic 6-overtime state semifinal ball game. And it probably the winner of that, right, probably can say we believe we're the second best team in the state at this moment.
Which again, I think, well, it's why we love this non-district play, because kind of all of our questions get answered.
Yeah.
I think
some.
You're right. Not all of them, but some. After 0 week, we had Owasso kind of 4 to 5.
Sure,
we had them so low.
And now you can make a case for
recovered.
2. Yeah, no question. One thing I want to get to before our top plays, it is such a shame that Carl Albert and Bixby didn't see fit to schedule each other this year, because, look, we saw Bixby in 6A2. You look back, there were years they beat Jenks, and Jenks went on to win the state title in 6A1. You could make a case, even though we have never talked that way in this part of the state, where, the state champion, the best team in Oklahoma, was actually in 6A2, not 6A1. Buddy, I'm not saying they're going to beat Bixby, but Carl Albert down in Class 5A has the most Division I, or at least high-end Division I talent of any team in the state. Sperry, the quarterback, on his way to OU, lighting up the Muskogee defense last night, 399 yards and 3 touchdowns. Carl Albert beats Muskogee, who, at least according to some polls, was number 1 in Class 6A2, may still be the best team in 6A2. But the final score last night in Muskogee was 43-20. So them Titans are pretty good, and I do lament the fact that we didn't have a Bixby-Carl Albert matchup in the non-district.
If Carl Albert and Bixby meet on a neutral site, well, just for the heck of the conversation, there's a 30,000-seat venue halfway on 44.
There you go.
How many people
attend
that game?
Now we're talking.
How many people attend the game? This is what podcasts are for, the hypotheticals.
It'd be good, bud. Now, I assume the Titans fill it up wherever they play. I don't know what kind of numbers we're talking about, and the same with Bixby. But if we had 22,000 for Bixby Owasso at TU last year, just the fact that would be so interesting, and there are so many OU guys, 15, 20,000, I would think. It'd be worth going.
Yeah.
It'd be worth sending old Dan Glad to cover it. So, yeah.
Get me out there with my baby camera that everybody makes fun of.
If Lauren Montgomery and the folks at Carl Albert want to make this thing happen, Channel 2's happy to sponsor. We'll be there.
Okay.
What do I mean by sponsor?
Do I mean pay for it?
No, absolutely not. That's way above my pay grade. What do I mean?
This guy's going to be leading the concessions when we get there.
Like, hey, we're really behind you. Big thumbs up on this idea.
Big kudos from the 2 sports teams.
Glad Dan thought of it. All right, our top 5 plays of the week. Dano, get us started. Number 5.
Look at that. We have a counter in the bottom left corner of the screen. Dax Collins, the TU commit, 55-yard rush in his 1 appearance in the Tulsa metro area this year. He makes the clean cut and has the speed to get away from everybody else. TU fans are excited to see that one. Caden, I'm going number 4, right?
You're number 4.
All right, Carter Nathan, this is the Cassia Hall Berryhill game. Look at the cut. 1 cut sends a guy stumbling, and he takes it the rest of the way for a 64-yard touchdown. Cassia Hall Berryhill would actually go on to win that
Berryhill wins 28-21. Funky Joe Medina still looking for career win number 300. Cordell Goldsby, invest in Goldsby. Not cash or
gold guy.
Yeah, exactly. Big gold guy. Look at that. 61-yard punt return for touchdown. He had 1 rushing, 1 receiving, and that return. Goldsby does something like this every week. How about Davion Pickens? If they had won, this would be number 1. Let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Number 99 with the Pickens 6. Oh, you love to see it. The screen pass off the hands of the Jinx running back, and there's big old Davion Pickens.
Like the James Harrison.
High step? Do I detect a high step at the end of that?
And a flex.
Love it. The 2 interceptions are number 1. These were the biggest plays of the game. What a great effort that was by Jace Hager, tipping it up and then on the ground making the pick. And this is a freshman, number 22 for Jinx, Samaj Stanford, off the shoulder pads of Geno Boyd. He picks it up and takes it home to make that game 21-0. I think that was the single biggest play of the ball game, of the Backyard Bowl.
Just the convoy there got a lot of blocks, too.
But, hey, can I say this? And I do. I hope we can go back and find a couple of the shots of Shaker throwing the ball in the fourth quarter last night. I think I'm going to put that on Twitter as soon as we finish this. There were the 2 deep balls, but then there was also, he was rolling left, tight window, sidearm, had to change the arm angle and just whipped it in there. It's a beautiful thing to behold, and Union's ceiling remains really, really high. They've got some things to work through.
Still plenty of time to build and develop.
That's right. They did not deserve to win last night, but that doesn't mean that this particular team with Shaker running the offense isn't really lethal.
And he just picked up an offer from OSU this week.
He did. Yeah, that's a really big one. Congrats to Shaker. And I believe he reported one late last night after the game. Could have been Boston College. Somebody in that, I think. I could be wrong about that. But, yeah, the OSU offer, huge. I know that at the camp, maybe a full year ago, he really impressed the coaches there. And so it was only a matter of time before he finally got that official offer. 3 stars officially, I think, on 24/7. Yeah. But I think he's got 4-star talent. I'm glad you mentioned that, actually. I'm sorry. We're getting to our player of the week in just a second. But Bill Haston and I, great Tulsa World writer, covers, high school better than anybody in this area. The first year I showed up in Abilene, Texas to cover high school football, we had Colt McCoy, a guy named Taylor Ponce who went to Texas Tech, and Case Keenum, who may still be around the NFL somewhere.
He might still be at Houston. I'm talking Houston Cougars. He might still be in college.
All in the Abilene area. We didn't even say Abilene metro area. I don't even think it gets the word metro attached. Just this little 125,000 person town had all of those quarterbacks at the same time. We play incredible football here in Tulsa. No question. Jenks Union for years and years could go anywhere and beat almost anybody. The same goes for Bixby now, Owasso, Broken Arrow. They've got some, skins on the whatever. You know the phrase. On the wall, right? Pelts on the wall, skins on the wall. The quarterback play here, it simply has not been at that level. There haven't been recruitable guys. We haven't had a 4-star quarterback here in the Tulsa Metro. I think Mason Fine is the best that I've covered since I've been here, and he was incredible, but that's not actually Tulsa Metro. This kid is probably the best talent we've seen come through in a very long time. So anyway, congrats to Shaker on the OSU offer. Player of the week, Deuce Schock. You caught up with him. This was for the performance, the win over Jenks, week 1.
Yeah, so he had 5 catches for 3 touchdowns, 200-plus yards, really just starting to emerge. And I went up to Owasso to chat with him about the performance and about, figure out who he is a little bit. We'll play some of that now. Deuce. You wear number 2, but where does the name Deuce come from?
Deuce is I've been wearing 2 since like 2nd grade, and the second son, so I've always just been called Deuce all my whole life. So.
How special is that to be able to continue the legacy of wearing number 2, something you said you've been done since 2nd grade?
It's pretty cool because it's just my favorite number, just always do it, so it's always weird when I don't wear number 2. So.
How'd you get started playing football?
My dad put it in my hands, just been playing all type of positions since whenever, so always.
How did you find a home there at receiver? Because I take it you've kind of played both sides of the ball growing up.
I was small growing up, so I didn't like to get hit. So I always just wanted to run fast and catch the ball. So it was just smooth, just always doing that.
And we'll talk about the speed later. But so when did you grow, and when did you realize, okay, maybe this is the new deal for me at receiver?
Maybe around like last year, maybe 2 years ago, I had a big growth spurt. We went from like 5'8" to like 6'1", 6'2", so pretty simple there.
Were you eating good, or what? Was it just you woke up one morning and you were 4 inches taller?
I think I just woke up one morning and I was pretty tall. So
let's talk about the week you had this past week. Whenever you're starting to catch 1 pass and it goes for a touchdown, a 2 pass for it, you go 5 catches for 3 touchdowns, 212 yards. What kind of groove were you in against Jinx?
It was just smooth, just getting confident, in my quarterback. I know he's going to throw it up for me and let me go get it. So it's always just having that confidence.
How have you been forming that relationship with your quarterbacks?
Day in and day out at practice, working out on the off season, just getting that connection ready. So.
All right, I'm going to show you this play. It's one of your touchdown catches. I'm going to have you break down what's going on here. I know you kind of see it. What's happening here?
The ball's in the air, and I just got to go be a playmaker for my team, Just got to go upstairs and go make a touchdown for me.
Now we're going to hold it right here. What are you thinking right here?
Thinking balls in the air, it's either mine or nobody's, and gotta do what I gotta do.
Do you feel like whenever you're in that situation and it's one-on-one, balls right here, that I'm going to win that every single time?
Yeah, I feel like I'm the best to do it. I feel like in the state, nobody can have those aggressive catches like I can. So I just take it upon myself to go do it.
Where does that confidence come from?
Just being underrated, just not being the person that people talking about. So I just make people talk about me.
That happens a lot, I feel like, especially with, kind of guys around here and being so close to Texas, and you always hear about Texas recruits, but a lot of the Oklahoma guys kind of feel like they have that chip on your shoulder. How has that helped push you to keep being better and keep becoming the player you become today?
It's good because Oklahoma ball is really, really underrated. So like summertime, 7-on-7, we all go around Texas, all that. Still be killing people from there. So I just putting Oklahoma on the map is really good for us.
Are you the fastest guy on the team?
I would say so, yes.
You had to look around. Are you looking for Jakari or something, or who are you looking for?
He's gonna say he the fastest, but we know what it is.
How is that competition within the team whenever you can have competition of who's fastest and it's all lighthearted and y'all know still your brothers at the end of the day?
Oh, it's great. We can compete as a family, compete on the field, but at the end of the day in the locker room, we all still good with each other. No matter what happened on the field, everybody's still one family.
What makes football in Owasso different?
It's different because, we the hardest, we the smartest and the toughest team. Our coaches preach it every day, so we just take it upon ourselves to go just get on the field and kill it.
How does that win against Jinx and, going out to that big lead and then maybe hold them off late, how is that going to start rolling into some momentum as you start heading toward the end of district play, or end of non-district play, and head into districts?
It's good for us as a team. We just got to keep that momentum rolling, got to keep it rolling to BA, and then get that bye week and get ready for Union. So it's gonna be something special.
Okay, you can have any meal before a game. It won't mess up your athleticism or anything. What meal are you having?
Give me some hideaway pizza, and I'll be fine.
What's on the music playlist?
A lot of Lil Baby, a lot of Gunna, and tone it down with some Rod Wave.
Do you have any guilty pleasure songs or you're not going to come out here and say you listen to Miley Cyrus or anything like that, but anything like that on the playlist?
A little, it's a song called Falling Behind. That's the best song right there.
Who's that by?
I don't remember the artist's name, but, it's always on the playlist.
What's your favorite subject at school?
Favorite subject, I'd say English.
Why is that?
I like to write, so every time we have an essay or anything, I always put my all into it.
Do you do free verse poetry or storytelling, or what are we talking about?
Nah, not no poetry. Just different essays or different things we have to do in class. I just always feel good at it.
So Chalk is he is a big English guy, but he's not going to be here writing free form poetry or anything like that. He's very much let's tell the story, which I like that about him.
Yeah, look. He's got an elite name. And he's been fantastic over the last couple of weeks. They did that Owasso passing game looks
still blossoming. He's still got plenty to go.
No question. All right, we mentioned Berry Hill beating Cassia Hall. Just a couple other games I want to, note before we get out of here. How about the Claremore offense?
Yeah.
62 points, beating Oologah 62-41. They had a dramatic come-from-behind victory over Bartlesville in their season opener.
Anytime you can score 35 plus in high school, solid offensive night.
Grove and Jay had a wild finish, huh?
Yeah, that's the one I was keeping up with on the little ticker, and Grove ended up winning 48-46. Jay scored late to take a lead. Grove marches down the field, wins by a game-winning field goal, so shout out to Grove for keeping their undefeated season alive.
Photo looks real nice. Our guy Samson Tamajani reported on that ball game last night as they beat Metro Christian 24-7. You mentioned Dax Collins just a little bit earlier. This is a team to watch. There aren't that many teams that you can consider real, legit state title contenders. I think Poto is in that world.
For sure.
For the second year in a row, Rejoice Christian beating Beggs, and relatively soundly, 35-16. Lincoln Christian remains undefeated, all over Vian, 55-11. Sapulpa Bartlesville, that was a ball game, huh? The Chieftains offense, 44-36, Sapulpa beating Bartlesville. And Bishop Kelly defeats Bishop McGinnis 24-7, only the second time since 2015 that the Comets beat the Irish. How about the night for that Comets defense, holding Bishop Mac to 7 points? I know that post-game Whataburger tasted real good for old head coach J.J. Tapana last night. Next week, our game of the week, Bartlesville at Collinsville. the Cardinals a 68-7 win over Skytook last night. One of the best programs in the state. Kevin Jones, one of the best coaches in the state. We always love heading up there. They usually treat us real nice, Dan, with some homemade hamburgers off
homemade
the grill.
hamburgers?
It happens every year we go up there. That's part of the reason we just keep on going up there. Usually we're there in like week 9 or 10. It's, a little chill in the air. And I'm not going to say there's going to be a chill in the air, but it is going to be cooler than it has been for the first 3 weeks. And for that reason alone, we are fired up for week 3,
it's gonna finally
which is
feel like
actually
football
week
weather.
4 of the high school football season here on Channel 2. That'll do it for the FNL postgame podcast. For Dan Lindblad, I'm Cade McFarland. We'll talk to you again next week, everybody.